for the introduction.
Plantation crops are high-value commercial that play a crucial role for many developing and industrialized countries in the agricultural economy and export trade. Oil palm, rubber, cocoa and rice has been a major crop plant in Malaysia both by public and private sector and has become important plantation crop for the human population. Plantations were created in response to the demand for commodity spice, fibers and beverage that could only be manufactured in the tropic or subtropic due to the climate restriction. Future plantation crop are the action need to be taken now in improving the way of plantation. Today, the global population is increasing, but what worries the global climate change is getting extreme the effect on the plantation sector as it encounters plantation crop production.
I'm Hamza and I will be presenting about the threat in future plantation crops. For the first point is deforestation. Plantation growth is one of the main causes of deforestation in the tropics and mainly motivated by the large-scale development in Southeast Asia. Biodiversity endangered by habitat destruction, and the animals are slowly losing their habitat because of the deforestation, and it also causes the climate change. These two things will affect the profit and growth performance of the future plantation crop. So the future plantation crops need to be more sustainable about the environment because the human being will go for a sustainable crops for their preference in order to save the world. So any organization should be thinking of how to make their plantation industry to be more environmental friendly and sustainable to the world by right now. Next point is climate change. CFFRC is a Crops for the Future Research Center says that by 2030 the world needs to grow 50% more food and 30% fresh water. This is because at time the temperature are rising and this will allow the major crops of the world to collapse. So we need to take a primary step, which is by reducing the burden on remaining rainforests around the world. Climate change, increased in carbon dioxide levels affect photosynthesis and growing temperature. This will induce the heat stress and increase the evapotranspiration in crops and leading to wilting or death of plants, which the result is very direct impact. Next is affect the future plantation crop yield. As we know that once the climate change has occurred, it will affect the yield automatically, and because it will disturb the growth performance of any plantation crops. The last point is disease and pest of the plantation crops. These will always become a threat to the plantation either in the future or at the moment, and we cannot avoid from the disease and the pest. The climate changes affect the crop disease and pest. Zero burning policy introduced biological problem. This happens because of they are decaying among them, and the chances for them to affected to each other is very high. So this will increase the infestation among them. And the major disease in oil palm is Ganoderma for over 80 years, and these really affect the production in oil palm even after 2050. The next is rhinoceros beetle is a major pest in oil palm. This infection could be up to 70%, and they actively emerged since the zero burning policy was created in 1990. That's all from me. Thank you.
The opportunity for future plantation crop can be seen through technology application for plantation. Technology capabilities have been further enhanced by reducing the cost of equipment which reduce initial expenses and offer the potential for faster return on investment. Drone is the example for growing farmers realize as a technology ability to perform the key tasks and potential for the rapid development to take a greater roles in the future. The plantation sector is one of the key sectors benefit from the evolution of nanotechnology lead to a change that is able to increase productivity by using biofertilizer and pesticide. Application of nanotechnology is focused on the processing and production of fertilizer compounds that have nanoscale compound or molecules. Next is sustainable crop production. Most of sustainable models of the plantation sector are based on organic farming. The main purpose is to protect soil resources and prevent the use of chemical pesticides and diseases that will adversely affect the environment. Integrated pest management is a method to reduce the environment pollution by minimizing the amount of pesticide used to and stop the likely adverse consequences of synthetic pesticide. Soil fertility is another important part of the sustainable crop production with a component of organic matters, minerals and microorganisms. For the last part, for the opportunity is the increase in demand for crop production. Nowadays, the main factor for continued rise in demand for palm oil crop industry include the population of economic growth in those countries that consume oil for food and much lesser degree the demand for biofuel in other regions. Malaysia's Sustainable Palm Oil (MSPO) need to be implemented by all Malaysia palm industry to increase the credibility of Malaysia palm oil product oriented to the international market. The rice industry is one of the third most important agriculture industry in Malaysia after oil palm and rubber. The precise agricultural technology package has been introduced that can help the country rice industry. The technology produced is able to reduce input costs and operating costs while maintaining high yield of rice in the future.
What should we expect and what should we do for the future? Companies can make an impact by introducing and implementing zero deforestation policies that clean up their supply chains. This means holding their suppliers accountable for producing commodities like timber and beef in a way that does not fuel deforestation and has a minimal impact on our climate. Companies should also collaborate with other like-minded institutions in their sectors, demanding suppliers transform the way our economy works so that nature is always protected and human rights are respected. Now for the climate change. The use of renewable energies using solar, wind, geothermal and biomass left the non-regenerative energy untouched. Our transport methods also must be aligned with environmental requirements to reduce the carbon emission. Plus, we limit the consumption of fossil fuels, industry emissions to minimize air pollution, and reduce waste to tally with our consumption rate and limit open fishing, illegal activities, especially in coastal areas, and promote the use of 3R, which are reduce, reuse, and recycle. Mechanization. Highly complex technologies are becoming accessible. Technologies like robots, temperature and moisture sensors, aerial images, and the highly used GPS technology. These upgrades will make the business more profitable, safer, efficient, and environmentally friendly. Agriculture 4.0 will need to have an eye on both sides of value and supply chain and evaluate the food scarcity ratio. Only then the innovation made will be for the improvement for the consumers and to re-engineer the value chain instead of for the sake of innovation only. Well, for the conclusion, it is, without a doubt, the future of agriculture is in our hands. It seems that deforestation is inevitable with the current farming and food production management, and the use of palm oil contributes to the deforestation in Southeast Asia. And this causes increase of CO2 that will alter the growth of the crop. Although climate change cannot be avoided, the least we could do is to slow its rate. The use of renewable energy is one of it. The future of technologies is booming, and the agriculture sector must join the movement. Government and NGO bodies play a very important role in capital, growth, and assets management. With the help of them, each and every country can make equal the supply and demand market.